Hey, what's good, y'all? Now, I know this vlog is a bit late, but at this point, I tend to do it at any point of the day, any time of the day. So, as long as I could get these videos out, as long as I could make them, get them out to you guys, by all means, I'm just gonna do it anyway, get it over with. But this weekend was already a bit busy for me, so I just want to get this video out to you guys. So I'm gonna leave you guys with something to think about for the rest of the weekend, going into next week and the following after that, and so on and so forth. Today, really quick, I wanted to talk about unreliable narrators. Reason why I'm saying this right now is because, think about it, that usually tend to be the term for film and TV. It's always the term for film and TV, but it could apply to everything and everyday life. Okay? Basically, what an unreliable narrator is when you have the point of view of a person who's telling you one thing, telling you a story based on what they've seen, what they've heard, what they thought about, but can you really trust what they say? Because only the true answers reveal themselves once you figure that part out for yourself, being on the receiving end of it. Can you trust what they say? That's the whole point of what that term means. For film and TV, it's usually for meta purposes. Fourth wall breaking, meta jokes. But it's also an important factor to realize that when you look into one's story or try to understand what the person is saying, where they're coming from, sometimes you can tell by body language, by tone of voice, by the specific words they use. Is it genuine, or is it manufactured just to convince you? And I do feel like it's important to know that when it comes to unreliable narrators, given what that term is, what it means, and I just broke it down in a basic way as best as I can to describe what that is, it's essentially a way to realize, to recognize that someone is hiding behind something, hiding behind the words they say, hiding behind the actions they do, or didn't. And I feel like it's important to know those things can happen in real life as well. At times, any of us who finds ourselves in that kind of scenario, in that kind of situation, we would start thinking about those things. Especially now when it's become harder and harder by the day to trust anyone. And in this case, solely based on what they say and how they say it. We got to be mindful about how we communicate with each other. We got to be mindful about how we communicate with others. Because in order to get the message across, in order to get the point across, in order to get something across, something conveyed to the point of coming to that realization, that understanding that because the person on the receiving end listening to what you're saying, honing in on what you're saying, chances are, if you're not speaking the truth and they start to figure out what it is, or figure out that you was deceiving the whole time, it's just gonna make things even more difficult for trusting people, especially nowadays, because any and every single one of us could lie to each other, and sometimes we don't even think we're doing it, other times we're well aware that we're doing it. But either way, we're hiding. We're hiding. Sometimes it's subject matter that's sensitive to us that we don't want to reveal everything to people. And then on the other end of it, it's just for the hell of it, for the sake of doing it, just because. It's just another way to want to screw with people's heads, screw with their minds. Get people to think what you think. Get people to feel how you feel, or the way you want them to feel, rather. Instead of being honest, instead of being truthful about it. Once again, the truth and honesty, it ain't always going to be pretty. But it's the reality that we have to face. When we're honest with ourselves, we can be honest to each other. That's the best way to go. It goes a long way. If we're talking long-term scenarios here, honesty and the truth goes a long way. Sometimes we feel like we have to lie to protect others, protect ourselves for what could possibly be a worst case scenario that could happen, that could possibly happen. But we can't always do that. We can't always do that to each other. We can't always do that to ourselves, because the only thing we're doing is hurting each other. We're denying the possibilities of what the honesty and the truth can bring in terms of a better sense of community, camaraderie, connection, a better one at that, to open up our minds more, to open ourselves up more. But one step at a time. One step at a time, because it's always going to be a process. And it starts with us, individually. A lot of what we deal with on a daily basis, it starts with us, before we seek each other out to talk about these things. And of course, being comfortable with the uncomfortable in order for ourselves to be comfortable within that, in order to talk about these subject matters, in order to talk about these feelings, these thoughts, being honest about it, being genuine about it, it goes a long way, man. It does. And it's one thing to recognize that on this journey in our lives, what comes with the truth, the lies follow. Yes. But it's best not to have the snowball effect. That the more you lie, the more you keep those lies rolling. The more you embed yourself in them. The more you hide behind them. I'm speaking for us, I'm speaking for we, I'm speaking for you, I'm speaking for me. Because at some point, we have to be held accountable for those things. And I'm gonna leave it at that. Again, something for y'all to think about, marinate on, let it sink in. And with that being said, this is BlueFlamez Da Poet, and I'm out.